I think the reason overlanding paired with America culturally is we've always loved vehicles as a country. We've always loved vehicle travel. Needing that self-reliance piece and needing to get out and go do things is probably why we see such a massive explosion within the overland scene. My background is growing up in Northern California, backpacking in the mountains, Boy Scouts, family, doing those kind of multi-week backpacking trips. And then after I joined the military, I didn't want to hike in my free time anymore because they kind of ruined that for me. And so going from backpacking and not wanting to carry too much stuff into motorcycle travel, that was how I got into camping. And then eventually it was, now I'm throwing all the backpacking gear in the back of the truck and going camping out in the desert. And then you start wanting a little more comfort, a little more convenience. Now we have this truck that's clearly completely out of control. But for the price point, I think the Tacoma's probably the best platform. Now this is the second gen. This is 2015 was the last year of the second gen. As Tacoma started to go more mainstream, they wanted something that was going to get better gas mileage and was better around town. This performs better off-road at the cost of obviously fuel economy. If I drive conservatively 60 to 65 on the freeway, you're getting about 14.5 miles to the gallon. So it's doable for long range travel, but obviously it's not super cheap. Suspension, we have Icon mid-travel remote reservoir up front, Icon tubular upper control arms. Rear suspension is Old Man Emu Dakar springs with an Adaleaf for the payload, Icon hydraulic bump stops, Fox adjustable remote reservoir shocks. Armor is all pro aluminum, transfer case, skid plate, aluminum rear bumper. CBI Off-Road made the rock sliders. Go Fast camper with a Renogy 100-watt solar panel. Dometic fridge. I built the deck plate system in the bed myself. Goose gear, full seat delete, the whole back seat's gone. Baja Designs amber fog lights. Those are DOT approved. Still very bright. I did the S2 cornering lights for the ditch lights. Have a CB radio from Right Channel Radios in Bozeman. WeBoost, a cell phone booster with the bigger antenna. On top of the Go Fast, obviously I have the Max Tracks, Demos snow shovel. Inside we wired up a couple extra Blue Sea USB chargers for always hot. That way you can charge cameras or phones, whatever, when you walk away from the vehicle. Method Racing NVs with some Nitto Ridge Grapplers. The Nitto Ridge Grappler is the best tire that I've seen for what I do. Part of overlanding that people don't want to admit to is we have to drive on a lot of pavement to get to the off-road portions. So you need an all-terrain that isn't going to just kill your gas mileage. But with the Nittos, you have that kind of outer mud terrain lugs, so it kind of gives you some of the benefit when you start to sink into the mud. The Go Fast camper is for the money. It's a pretty good system in the sense that it's a wedge-shaped camper. You can comfortably sleep 2 people. It's not insulated, so I will say the disadvantages of the Go Fast camper specifically are winter camping. You're fairly limited. You're completely reliant on whatever sleeping bag you end up with. But the benefits of the Go Fast system are the weight, especially with the Toyota Tacoma. It has 3 hatches, so you can open up the side doors or the back. So accessibility for gear is really awesome. Setup and takedown, sets up in 30 seconds. It takes less than 5 minutes to put away. I've been to 48 states, and this truck has been to about somewhere in the mid-40s. So this truck's been all over. Top 3 trips easily would be the Big Bend trip, just because the weirdness of the pandemic. New England trip, I did a lot of Class 4, Class 5 roads in New Hampshire. That was just an amazing time. Set the record for top of the headlights for driving through water. A little terrifying when you're traveling alone. Actually, the build trip to drive out to Bozeman, pick up the Go Fast, install all the camper things like the fridge and the slider and everything. Did a lot of camping out in Wyoming and stuff on the way back. That was pretty incredible. This vehicle will always have meaning because my wife and I met and I took her camping. The first time we went camping was in this. She always wants to build another vehicle, but we also can't really seem to give this vehicle up, just because we have a lot of good memories in it. Part of the adventure is not necessarily having all the gear for every occurrence. At a minimum, you do need basic survival gear, basic camping gear, basic medical gear, and basic recovery gear. A good investment will always be traction boards and a shovel. As far as first aid kits go, start at REI and augment it as you progress in your skills. I think that rather than buying stuff, you need to invest in yourself, like invest in training, make the investment to not only, learn first aid, take a recovery class, learn how to use recovery gear safely, but also just physically preparing yourself for the adventure. Start basic. Everybody wants to have everything. A lot of people also say, I wish I could afford this truck. I built this truck over 5 years. So if you have a vehicle that can go down the trail, put a sleeping bag, put a stove, put a first aid kit in there, and just go spend the night. Find out if you actually like camping first. As an Iraq War veteran, a lot of us were vehicle-based for those entire deployments, so there's a little bit of that nostalgia or comfort of traveling around in kind of a cool-looking vehicle and, living out of it. So I think that, for the veteran community especially, I've run into more veterans at overland rallies than anywhere else. I think self-reliance is a very important thing. And I think that the only way we can experience this in an advanced society like ours is to seek adventure and to go out and challenge yourself.